here's your host, Chelsea Edwards.
Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Chelsea. I am your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. You know, the children are our future, and they must know it because the kids nowadays, they are coding robots, using AI, and explaining apps to us before they hit middle school. So today, we want to make sure that your kids are ahead of the AI and robotics curve. We are showing you some STEM activities and some hands-on kits that you can use right at home. We are also chatting about how young people can use this summer to create their own businesses, learn financial literacy, and build their own bank account so they don't have to keep asking you for shoe money. Our first guest is an orthopedic surgeon who has also launched a STEM and arts summer camp that is calculating a national impact by making science, technology, engineering, and math accessible to all. She first launched at the Luke Church, where she is a first lady. Welcome to Chattin with Chelsea, Dr. Sonia Sloan, founder of STEM Plus Arts Incorporated.
That's it.
So it looks like y'all do some incredible things through these camps. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we started back in 2018, again, because of limited access for minorities, but was more so of just, I never had the opportunity. And so we wanted to start a camp that was a faith-based initially, and then it grew from there to its own business.
Nice.
And from that, it was giving kids a small glimpse of what science, technology, engineering, and math really was incorporated, but plus the arts, because you hear people talk about STEAM, so
Yes.
they've combined it. I'm still a science major, you know, a chemistry major by heart, and it was like, no, they still need to remain separate because realistically the STEM fields are different and the artistic fields are totally different. So respecting both, it was STEM plus arts.
Okay, so this looks like, is the day split, or you're rotating through different activities
Correct.
for the kids? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so we have, of course, we go through the science, the technology, engineering, math. Technology is a big piece of it right now, but there's a whole arts day, and then
nice.
incorporate little pieces throughout the day. So you keep the creative side, because that is the right brain, where kids
Yes.
really can incorporate their creativity, their entrepreneurship, their leadership skills into the STEM as well.
And that right brain
That's
can
it.
help with that left brain
Correct.
as well.
You have to.
It's great to work all of it, right?
Early, very early. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so how early are we talking?
So we started pre-K.
Oh,
What we
nice.
found when we started in 2018, what we found was we did a beta test group, and those were 5-year-olds, and we were like, we don't know about this. And so
They
what
be
happened
wild.
was they blew our minds. So these kids were phenomenal, but that's the generation they're growing up on, their mom and dad's tablets and phones and playing and being entertained and or babysit. I don't know. But those are the generation that they are already comfortable with technology as it changes, as it advances. And so therefore, it was just right for us to start. So we start with pre-K now, 4-year-olds that are in the camp. We usually have at least 10. We don't do more than 15.
Okay.
But we do the basic things. They do a lot of arts and crafts, but they also do music, and they do a lot of the science technology that's tactile. So it may not be always on a device, but it's something that can code with their intuition of like, okay, how do I count? Basic math stuff, that kind of thing. So,
Okay, yeah, I will say I have been blown away by my own son with the robotics kit.
Correct.
And just being able to put stuff together without a lot of my input.
Right.
This new generation, I don't
They're
know.
built different.
They are built differently. Yes. So we hear all of this about AI, robotics taking over, and yet it just seems like there is not as much access to STEM in the regular school day, or just maybe across the board in certain neighborhoods.
Yeah.
How are you hoping to change that? And tell me from your perspective what you see.
Right now, as a person that's in medicine, I'm an orthopedic surgeon by trade, I never had access to that kind of stuff. And also the mentorship piece. So one is access, 2 is affordability, and then 3 is the mentorship. And that is pretty much our nonprofit, what we're built on. We want to have giving them early access, having these programs at pre-K up through 6th grades. You want to have affordable programming. Some of the programs that are out there are thousands of dollars, and parents, if they have multiple kids, they just can't do it for a summer camp.
Right.
And then thirdly, have people that look like you, that are mentoring you and advocating for you to go into these STEM careers.
So you have people who are in these actual careers.
Correct.
Come and hang with kids?
Hanging with the kids, teaching them, mentoring, being in the room, shadowing, and making sure that they're, etiquette as well as just loving on them and saying, you're doing a great job. That positive reinforcement for a child at that age will change how their perception is going forward in a STEM career.
That is key. And even if they don't go into STEM, I mean,
Yeah.
I love to see way more children into STEM, but even if they don't, there are some things that they're learning through these programs.
Yeah, engineering, what people don't realize, that is a thought process, right? And so that is basic in everyday life. Just learning how to look at something, analyze it, reassess, and then execute, right? So that's engineering. That's basically, so if you're teaching these kids this skill early on, you can imagine how much further ahead they'll be later on for strategic planning and implementation in project management, on any job as an entrepreneur, or whatever that may be.
What's something that has surprised you with these students when it comes to them getting their hands on these activities?
I've both sides. So I've been amazed with the young kids. Like you said, they take to it. They will figure it out. It's like, read directions. What? We got this. That kind of thing. But the other side is how they were actually afraid of technology. So when we introduced AI, it was more of what they had heard in the background of what they shouldn't be doing or what it was going to do to them or whatever else. And so when we sort of brought it to them as a leadership skill, of like, okay, so we're going to give you this project and this problem. How are you going to solve this? But you can only use AI to do it. So then they learned what AI was used for, how to use it, how to prompt it correctly, and the different types of AI that they could utilize, whatever the problem was. And so by the end of it, they amazed us with what they came out with. Yeah.
Wow, that is so important. Breaking down that fear,
Correct.
Getting over that stigma, and then creating opportunities
Correct.
for these kids. Well, I want to get hands-on myself,
Okay,
if that's all
let's
right.
do it.
Okay,
Yes. I'm a surgeon, so yes.
Yes. I don't know where you're going to take me now. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more STEM after this. Welcome back. We've got Dr. Sloan with Sloan STEM Plus Arts Camps.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got some activities for our kiddos to get them delving into this world of STEM and arts as well.
Yes.
Yes.
There is so much, because remember, we talked about how people want to commingle the arts into STEM, so they call it STEAM. We still sort of keep it separate, but it is part of the creative side. So we have here Osmo, which is a wonderful, easy, parents can buy this online, to get this, get it in. And usually you need an iPad. You can do it with a Fire tablet.
Okay.
Also, but it definitely has different pieces, lots of pieces. These are all magnetic. So you want to make sure that anyone that, may have a heart issue, not around the magnets.
Okay.
But nonetheless,
like a true doctor.
Right.
Okay.
So they basically pick the pieces, and they say, we have one that's going to be a start.
Okay.
And then they pick them, and you can move them and line them up. They sort of connect.
All right.
And as they do, it
magnets?
gives commands. So kids are learning how to actually give a command by tactile pieces, and then when they push start and they push jump, or they push, it's going to jump the different direction, then it tells it to stop.
Okay.
Or it's going to make it go to sleep, and then you do your final command of totally stopping.
Oh,
right?
so whatever they're building
Correct.
here,
It'll show up on the screen
there.
with little Obby, and he's a cute little, character, and so they play, and it has different sounds. So this is a wonderful toy type of gaming that they learn to code, also being artistic. It actually says it's, 5th grade through 6 or 5 through 12. We start this with pre-K. So the 4-year-olds do this. And again, because they are so great with technology, it's easy for them.
Wow.
Easy
Okay.
for them.
So don't be limited by what it says on the box.
No, by no means. Let them try. That's part of the creativity side, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So next we have, this is a game. I love this game. So what it does is you take a piece of paper, and let's just, the sample is going to be her lovely photo.
We started with my promo photo here. Yeah.
Now we're going to take that and pixelate it into these colors, which she has started her different colors.
Yes.
Let's put these pieces. Now, I'm going to warn the parents, there's 1,500 pieces here, so don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you, it's a wonderful way to start this gaming process.
Yes.
So they're going to learn to be creative. That's the art side, because they're going to color their own picture. So a couple of years ago, we had a little girl, a little African-American girl. She, painted herself as a superhero, and then so she pixelated that superhero with her pink cape. Then we take the iPad, which it is iPad sensitive. It has to be an iPad, not another tablet. They take a picture of it, and then the program will pixelate it into a gaming character. And so now their cartoon or their artwork becomes a character, and then they learn how to code, if that's going to run, if that's going to jump, if that's going to fly. Then once they learn that, then they can play the game, and then Bloxels, this company, uploads it to their cloud, which is totally protected and sealed, and anyone in the world can play their game.
That is so cool.
This is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yes, you know what? You know the other warning we need to give parents?
What's that?
This is actually really like soothing to do. So you might be stealing it from the kids. Mama just needs a little downtime right here with the Bloxels.
It's therapeutic.
Yes, it really is.
Put a little jazz on and just hang out. Yeah. Yes.
I love that.
So Bloxels by
Got
This
it.
is a wonderful game. Again, I would do this with the older kids 3 through 6.
Okay,
all right?
excellent.
So next we have something that, again, this is a product that you can buy online, but we do this in a couple of days with the kids. And so it comes in multiple pieces, you guys, multiple pieces. But Makey Blocks is a company that the kids will probably know from school.
Okay.
And I'm an orthopedic surgeon, so I use a lot of screwdrivers, but we're going to let you play with this one.
Oh, fun.
And so this is, they actually come in all these pieces. They actually put it together first. So day one of our camp, they take it out of the box.
Oh, so it
they
does not
separate
come
the
like
people.
this.
So this is engineering.
Okay.
101 engineering,
Wow.
right? So you put your screwdriver in there, and you can take it in and out. So once they put all of this together, there's a motor inside here that basically will have a coding to a tablet. They can do either a computer. So, you know, a lot of us, we use Chromebooks. So that's what they're used to using at school. So they use the Chromebooks, and we usually partner them up, and then they learn to code it, and then they run it, and it will get on the floor, and we have contests. Who can turn it faster? Who can run? Who can go at angles? You know, all these different things. So day one is assembly, engineering. Day two is coding, that's technology, that's mathematics. And then day three is execution, and that is science, right? So awesome.
Just in a few days, they're able to put together a robot.
This is so easy. Again, you can buy that, the Makey Blocks, online, not too expensive, about $100.
Okay.
And parents, they will be busy at least for a good couple hours. I promise you.
A whole summer activity.
Yes.
And then I see you got some other things over here for the arts.
So again, the arts brings in the right side of the brain, and we want to be creative. So we have a whole day, but with the littles, you have to do more. So they have multiple days of not just drawing, but we bring in music and things that go ahead. The boom whackers. Boom whackers.
These are boom whackers.
Go ahead.
I was like, I don't know what they are, but I like them.
Yeah, we have drums. We have different things that will do drums and that kind of stuff. So it's very interactive. They have a great time. They're laughing. They're fun, and we don't stop them. The creativity side of what they can come up with, making their own music, is what we allow them to do.
I love these boom whackers. Are we freestyling, or are they just okay?
Now, if you're old school, then you do the tambourine kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, I might have to get some of these too. Look, Mama's gonna have way more.
But you need to show them how many's in there before the parents order the whole bag, okay? Because show it on an angle.
So you have like a bunch of these.
So we're going to warn you now, there's a lot in this bag that comes. But it's very inexpensive, so it's a great way to be creative with a lot of kids, maybe in the whole neighborhood, or at your camp.
I was going to say, somebody's starting a band with these.
Yeah, okay. Totally. That entrepreneurial spirit, that's the other thing that we want to push.
Yes. One of your goals is to change the statistics when it comes to minorities in STEM. Right. How bad are the stats right now?
So if we're looking at minorities, so that's African Americans, Hispanic, Asian, as well as Native Americans, Alaskan Americans, those are less than 30% go into STEM fields. Okay. And we only make up about 23% of that population. So that is the dynamics of the increasing global need for STEM fields. And these are secure jobs. Most kids, by the time they get to college, are going to come out making $100,000.
Oh!
If you're going to a master's degree, you're leveling up to between $120,000 to $150,000. And in this economy, that's what we need.
Yes, that is what we need. Claps on that. Boom! Yes. All right, guys. Well, I love what you're doing. You guys make sure to check out those Sloan camps, STEM Plus Arts.
That's right.
Camps. Yes. When we come back, we're going to talk more money. Get that money to these kids. We've got somebody who will get them on the road to entrepreneurship. Be right back in just a minute. Summertime might be the best time for your young adult to start their own business. And here to explain why, we got Sebastian Sanders of the Young Billionaires Club. You help young adults of all ages to get into this entrepreneurship game. What have you seen when it comes to the benefits of doing that, especially when it comes to the summer season?
Yeah, well, the summertime is the perfect time to start. On average, if a student doesn't have an enrichment in the summertime, they lose 20 to 30% of what they learn in the academic school year. So the benefits of start is they have free time, they're at home, and they need money. They won't go back to school shopping and all those things. And so it's the perfect time to put them in an opportunity to learn business, develop entrepreneurship, and start their own.
Right, especially if they're asking to go hang out with the friends all summer.
Yeah.
Get yourself some income, okay?
Exactly.
So I will tell you, one of my friends, she has a daughter who is of age, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, she can go get a job, but my friend is hesitant for different reasons to have her daughter go out into the workforce. What do you get from parents when it comes to that hesitation, and what do you tell them?
I always tell the parents, if a child wants to go into entrepreneurship, teach it at home. It all starts at home. For me, it started at home, and for every student that I come across, business starts at home. So if a child says, hey, I want to start a business because I want to raise money to have back to school clothes and shoes for $500, start the business, price out your product or your service, and how can you realistically get to that $500 financial goal. And if you start it at home and you teach them the responsibilities of what it looks like to start a business and be an entrepreneur, they develop into a full-blown entrepreneur by the time they graduate from high school.
And I'm sure they learn so many lessons, like
most
whether
definitely.
It goes well or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love the idea of also setting a goal, because that'll really have them be able to work towards something, and they're thinking about that 500 in the bank all summer long. And so how do you get students started when it comes to creating a business? Is it really just, okay, what do you like to do? Or do you delve deeper? Do you ask them additional questions for them to decide what they want to do?
Yeah, it all starts with the why. Everybody gets into entrepreneurship with a specific why. So with the young people, I always ask, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you just want to make money? Do you want to be an influencer? Do you want to change the world? And we go hard at the why, because the why is the passion, and that's what develops the product or service. If you're not passionate about entrepreneurship, you will phase out, because entrepreneurship is hard. It has its ups and the downs. It doesn't always have the huge wins, and so you have to dig deep into the why for a young person.
Okay, so what if they do say, I just want to make a bunch of money? Mr. Sanders, is there something wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with making a bunch of money, right? We all want to make money, but I always tell my young people, if you want to make the money, come up with a financial goal. What is that magic number that you want to hit? And ask yourself, what am I doing to get to that goal? And if I'm not doing the things that I need to do to get to that goal, what can I change in my life moving forward?
So once they get their motivation, it's the why, or I want to help the community. How do we get to actually launching this business? And what kinds of businesses are you seeing from these kids?
We see a lot of service-based business, believe it or not. I see a lot of students come in wanting to start a nonprofit organization. So we see a lot of students want to help. And in Houston, we see a lot of students want to get into food and entertainment. You know, living in Houston, that's all we have here is food and entertainment. So it's fun to see our kids want to get into that. And so how do we start there? We start with the why. We develop the business plan. We get into the marketing. We get into the sales. Then we get into the operations. The two things that most entrepreneurs fail at is sales and operations. So for young people, we attack those because we want you to be strong in those regards. That way, when you get out into the real world and get out to the marketplace, you have some strengths and the weaknesses that most entrepreneurs just have.
You know that sales is huge. Those are some skills that will carry you through the rest of your life. Now, I remember, back in my day, we used to have to learn sales through fundraising. And it seems like the kids don't do that anymore, at least not in the same way, like going door to door. So how do you help them develop those sales skills?
We place them in uncomfortable situations. A lot of our kids, they want to do everything online. They want to start the TikToks, the Instagrams, and that's great. You can make money via social media. However, they have to learn the art of getting back in person, shaking their hands, looking somebody in their eyes, and having that direct conversation. They have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And once we get them in that setting and we challenge them and we see the growth, and it's amazing to see.
I love that. I mean, they may not like it because it's uncomfortable, but it builds the character.
Exactly,
So you actually work with groups throughout the year, or is this strictly summer?
Throughout the whole year. So summertime is usually when we do our free program here in Houston, but we're a year-round program, statewide initiative, so we're programming all year long.
Okay, so what do you have going on for the summer?
For the summertime, we have our Young Billionaires Club program happening June 16th through June 26th. It's a free summer program for students ages 12 to 25. They're going to learn marketing, sales, operations, supply chain chain, and then they end in a pitch competition. So it's a huge camp. We have 3 other camps that we'll be partnering with different partner sites, and then we also end the summer with the Young Billionaires Club vendor market, where those same students take their ideas, products, and services, and they sell it in a farmers market environment.
Oh my gosh, I want to come to that.
Yeah,
that
definitely
sounds
come.
awesome.
Yeah.
Have you done the pitch competition before?
We do pitch competitions every year. We have about maybe 5 to 10 cohorts every year where we have pitch competitions, and we just wrapped up our latest pitch competition, which was $5,000 for Houston area college students.
Oh man, that is so cool. I love that. I love to see it. Where can people find more information on that?
Visit our website at sandershand.org. You can visit the tab Join YBC, submit your application, and you can follow us on social media at sandershand.org on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, there's another principle that you teach where it comes to being afraid of being an entrepreneur, getting into business. I can say, plenty of my family members have that hesitation as well, and I wish I would have learned these skills when I was younger. What is it? What have you seen when it comes to trying to tear down that fear or that stigma when it comes to entrepreneurship?
Financial trauma is real, and especially in entrepreneurship, because I come across students who have a great idea, but they lack the self-confidence to activate that idea. And it all comes down to, I'm scared of money. I don't know how much money I can make. I don't even know if I can even make this amount. And so financial trauma starts at home. And I think as parents and as community leaders, we have to teach our children to have a healthy relationship with money, because as they grow and they get into business and get into whatever they want to do in their life, if they don't have a healthy relationship with money, they're always going to be afraid of it. They're not going to invest. They're not going to save. And that's why a lot of students don't go the entrepreneurship route, because they look at it like it's too much of a risk. Mom and dad said, don't go their way, go and get a job. There's nothing wrong with that. However, this next generation is super innovative. They have technology, they have AI, everything that we didn't have growing up. And if we place them in a setting to succeed and give them a healthy relationship with money, I think they can do way more and do more for our economy and our communities.
Man, I can't wait to see more young billionaires coming out of your program.
Yes,
so you guys check them out. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Chattin with Chelsea. Be sure to subscribe on our YouTube, Chattin with Chelsea. Like us over there as well, and you'll find all this info along with our social media, Chelsea Fox 26. Follow us there, and we'll see you on the next Chattin with Chelsea.